Shalom, 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 and welcome to Na'Shay Chayil's Simchah Lamode. This is our brand new segment on a brand new platform, here to once again invite each and every last one of you into our conversations, into our thoughts, into our study. So if you don't know, Simchah Lamode is simply the joy of studying. And this is what we do. We enjoy studying one with another. We enjoy studying even with you all. Hopefully, the hope is that you all are able to grasp something, to find something new to think about, to find something to draw you closer to the Creator. And with that, I even thank the Creator right now for being who he is. I thank him. I give him honor and glory for all things in which he's done, to include giving us a vision for us to find ways to unify as sisters. And here we are. Isn't that great? So with that, as always, I want to introduce myself. I'm Ako Emetia, and I'm the president of Na'Shay Chayil. And I'm so happy that you joined us, and I'm so happy to welcome you all. So with that, I want to bring in all my sisters, right? And introduce
them.
Hello, Ako Nasika. Okay.
Shalom.
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 Shalom, everybody.
Shalom. You all look so beautiful. Some of us got our t-shirts on, and this is a great day. This is our first video, our first live segment for Simchah Lamode. Shalom,
Hey, shalom.
Shalom.
We love our
Shalom,
sisters.
Yaisha PT.
Shalom.
Aisha.
Listen,
Shalom.
Thank you. This is a blessing. This is a blessing. We've been looking forward to coming back, to bringing people something new. We look forward to just even speaking one with another. So I'm just so excited that everyone is here. What I would like to do right now, for those that don't know who we are Na'Shay Chayil. We are a women's group, and I would like to share our vision with everyone. So our vision is, as we are intended to be, we are Na'Shay Chayil, women of valor. We have committed ourselves to service to our God, to our families, to our communities, and to each other. We welcome sisters to join us on our rediscovery of sisterhood. Torah is our fence. We stand on that. We aim to learn and impart Torah into our lives and aid each other in our individual and collective growth, so we can truly live up to the name Na'Shay Chayil. In addition, we have tenets that we like to stand on and we'll share. As always, as sisters, we will be our sister's keeper. We will always come with the hospitality of Abraham and Sarah. We will create a safe environment for one another. We will speak wisdom and encouragement to one another. We will value, honor, and respect one another. We will be truthful and just with one another. We will maintain spiritual growth with Torah as our fence. So again, welcome to Simchah Lamode, our new segment. Welcome all of you. How y'all doing tonight?
Praise Yah.
Great.
Good. Hey, Tava.
Be here, Tova.
Hey,
Oh,
Tava. Hey.
So
you look beautiful. All of my daughters.
Everything going. I love this. This is great energy. So before we get started, as always, the Most High is in the center, is in the forefront of all things and everything that we do. Ima, could you bless us with a prayer?
Definitely. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, Elohei Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak Israel. We thank thee for life on this day, and we thank thee for life on all the days that thou hast spared us. We ask that you would continue to bless us and our families and all Yisrael, wherever they may be scattered throughout the length and breadth of this earth. Please, Yah, as we meet tonight to launch our Na'Shay Chayil series, please be with us and bless us, and let it all be found to find favor in thy sight. We thank thee again for all things and for everything. We ask that you would bless the sick those who are in the house of mourning. We ask that you would be with all those who need your help even at this time, not only throughout the nation of Israel, but between even among those who are righteous among the Gentiles. We thank thee, O Yah, for all things and for everything, and ask your guidance, your protection, and your love and compassion over all of us. Hallelujah. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Awesome. Yeah, Toda, Ima.
Amen.
So here we are. Now I'm ready to kind of jump in and get started. But
Come
before
on.
I do,
Well, I still got energy.
right. Shalom, shalom, Hayafa.
Shalom.
Hold out for your support. One
Mhm.
thing, I just want to give a little disclaimer to everyone out there that might be watching, that might be listening. So one thing, there's a little structure, not really a structure, but there's a little thing that we like to do with Na'Shay Chayil when we have our study time. Say that. What we try to do is invite you all into our conversation. That's really what this is. We're inviting you all into how we study with one another. We're inviting you all into how we may look at scripture, how we apply it to our lives, and then the conversations in which we have about that. And so that's one thing we've always done. I always enjoy the conversations that I have with my sisters because it's always me. It's always me. It's something for you to kind of chew on for a little bit, you know what I mean? And let it, it takes me a minute to kind of digest. So, it kind of goes down a certain kind of way. And that's what I feel like we get a lot of times. And it always something that, in my opinion, brings me closer to wanting to study. Someone will bring something out that makes me want to be like, where'd she get that from? Because I didn't see that, or something to that effect, or even to think about something I never thought about before, or see scripture in a way that a particular verse or scripture that I had not seen it, or heard it explained in a certain kind of way. So we're inviting you into that. And one thing, like I read in our tenets, is that we believe in a safe space. So although we're live, this is still very much a safe space. And what we're doing here is not to necessarily get on a platform and tell you thus shall and thus shall you not. What we're here to do is edify one another and hope that you also get something from it. And so with that, have the understanding that we all come from very different schools of thought. Our teachers vary, our experiences vary. We have various years of being in law, some born, some coming in, some just coming in, some been here for a minute, and some been here some decades, James, but we have varying experiences. And so what we're doing right now is bringing this together and learning from one another. So we hope that you would look at it that way. If you don't agree, that's okay. You don't have to. But understand that this is a safe place, and with that, I'm a mama bear. I protect my sisters. Okay, So understand that that's all it is. So with that, so hopefully you again get something out of it. You too will learn something new. So with that, this is a heavy little question we done came up with. And so for those that don't know, I think everybody here, I probably said it. The original topic that we thought to come up with was, what does it mean to be an Israelite woman today? Right? I had a conversation with one of my mentors, and if she's out there, hey, Ima Zarita. One thing that if you know Princess Zarita, you know that she don't just give you a little something to take with you. She give you a lot to carry, right? When she speaks to you. And after my conversation, it kind of led me to say, let's change this up a minute. Because in essence, what a lot of people want to know, well, women in particular, who is our general audience, what is it to be a woman, period? Like, I don't think we really explore this, even that question, or even take a minute to think for ourselves, like, what is it to be a woman? We know what everybody tells us, right? We know the roles and the narratives, and I would say that is often placed on us. Oh, Do we ever think about what the Creator says about us? Do we ever think about what does Yah say when it comes to us being a woman?
Mm.
And one thing that it led me to, so if you don't clearly at the bottom of the screen, it says this is our introduction. So let me back up a little bit. This topic is a series.
Yes.
We have a couple of other videos, other lives that's going to come along with this one. But this is really our introduction to this question.
Right.
And ideally, when we're asking this question, I'm simply asking my sisters individually, when this topic came up, what is it to be a woman to you? And we'll probably all have very different opinions or outlooks, perspectives on the question, but that's the point. I'm curious. I like to pick people's brains too. And I want to know, like, how do you view being a woman? But even this question, right? What does it mean to be a woman? Mm-hmm. And how do you tie that to scripture? Can you tie that question to scripture? What does Yah say about us being women? Does he say anything about us being women? Like, I think about all of that.
Oh yes.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there just in general. When this topic came up, what did y'all think? Because Zaria.
Yeah.
I had to do some digging.
Yeah.
I was like, what does it mean to be a woman? Because I don't think I'm quite there yet, to be honest. Like, I think I have a lot of growing to do still, as far as being a full-grown woman, as my examples, such as Ima Naomi and other women that walk in this way of life, or just women, period. I just don't think I'm there yet, as far as maturity levels. I mean, I have the genitalia, of course, but I think there's levels to it,
So we've made it clear that Angel was born a woman. No, I'm
right.
And don't think the decades.
I looked something up online that I thought that was interesting. I'm going to read it real quick. It says, consciously and carefully chooses to develop life habits consistent with such values such as love, compassion, empathy, selfless giving, and dignified living. These are all attributes that is self-awareness, and they seek out these values in areas of life. I thought that, just getting out of the basic definition of mother, daughter, we all know that, know. But I thought that this was just really interesting, showing the traits of a woman that we share on a consistent basis. And that's I think it's like a twofold. Like, I always have a twofold to everything, but I think that's like one fold of us giving. And then I have a quote from Tori Morrison about like us being individual of a woman. And she says, she lived out she lived out her days exploring her own thoughts and emotions, giving them full reign, feeling no obligation to please anybody unless the pleasure pleased her. So, like I said, I think being a woman is what you're giving out, and then at the same time, what you're producing for your own self in order to produce the product you want to give to others.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see. We're starting already. Zaria, I feel you. I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I feel her on that. Just because, when you become a woman, like when you get older, you realize that, it's expected for you to give a lot of yourself. Women are expected to be givers and to give a lot of affection, love, consideration, just automatically. And you don't necessarily realize that when you're a girl, because you're receiving that. You know what I'm saying? So when I started thinking about what it means to be a woman, I was in the mind of my mother, my grandmothers, and I was like, wow, being a woman requires a lot more than just giving, because now that I'm a woman, I have to replenish myself. So it's good that you said that, Yaya, because it's like I have to replenish myself after I'm giving so much. Because if the tank is on E, I'm no good, right? So I notice that when I do more self-care, when I take that 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, I'm a better woman for it, right? So the duality of it, like you said, it's like a woman is being a giver, a lover, affectionate, considerate, all those things, right? But it's also about being selfish and taking care of yourself, you know?
Amen.
Nice.
Amen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So one thing when this kind of came about and I was having a discussion, kind of like moving around about it, the question made me so I tend to write things, right? So this is actually with this question, this is what came to me. So don't judge me. I said, I disliked being a woman at times, not because of things like experiencing menstruation or travailing during birth. I actually think those things are a testament to our strengths as to what we can endure. What I disliked was more of how we are seen or portrayed. I hated the fact that my existence was based off a narrative I didn't write, one that didn't show my light. I hated that it wasn't even based on how the creator, the one who created me to be, saw even me. So that's what this question kind of brought me to, was like asking the question of really like, what in being a woman, what is it to be a woman, but how does the creator see me as one? Like when he created us, created woman, right? Eve, right? When he created her, we know, and so reference point, Genesis chapter 2, verses 18. Bereshit chapter 2, verse 18. In particular is where that's like the foundational scripture for me on this topic. And there it goes, going across the screen. It made me consider. So I'm gonna read it real quick. And it says, hallelujah. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet I will make a helpmeet for him. Ezer kenegdo in Ivrit is the word that is used. So anybody who's seen Na'Shay Chayil knows I'm gonna look up words. That's what I do. And but when I did, I felt like in a moment, that help meet that usually we hear a lot, I feel like it does not give justice to the word, to what it means in Hebrew. Is there connecto? Those words, that statement, I think it's fuller than just saying help me. And not saying not to downplay that, but I just feel like it's way more than just that. Way more. So, of course, I looked up the words, right? So I started with Azer, and that's found in the concordance Hebrew 58:28. Ezer. It is a noun. It is masculine. It is shown 18 times using the word as a help, 2 times as a helper. It's like, okay, but the root word or origin of it is azar. And that's found in Hebrew 58:26 in your concordance. And azar is a verb. It's to help or succor, which means assistance and support in times of hardship and distress. Give assistance or aid. That's what it means. So then it goes, azar is ally. It can be used as an ally, furthered, granted, help, helped, helper, helpers, helping, protect, restrains, supporting. So I was like, So then I'm like, let's break down Kenegdo. So Kenegdo is broken down with key, and that's Hebrews, it's in your concordance, Hebrew 35, 09.1, right? And it's key, meaning marker of comparison. That's how it's used, as a marker of comparison when you use key. and as like a marker of similarity or correspondence. So it's like according to, if you wanted to use it. It's also a marker of time, like when, as, soon as, or about, to give examples. Kind of like it's a prefix, basically.
Right.
You get neged, Hebrew 50:48. And this was like an adverb preposition, and it means in front of, in sight of, opposite to. So I kind of got, is there a connect though? We can be helpers doing that can help, that assist doing, and that helpers that assist and support in times of hardship and distress, who can give assistance or aid, who can be an ally, who can be furthered, meaning going with you, who can be granted to, who can be a protector or protection, that can also find moments of restraint, and can be, of course, supporting in all things. So, but it also can be an opposition. So in the opposition, you really think about it all together. I can oppose you, or I can oppose others who are against you. And that's another thing that I kind of pulled away from.
You know, I didn't take that definition as that. I took it as, you know, part of that connecto is, and what I found in relationship to the root is in the sense of being face to face. So being opposite, if we're created to be a helpmate, we are the opposite creation of man. But I don't take it as in a sense of opposing or being there to, you know, defend against opposing people, but that I am looking at you,
right,
the Ish, and you're looking at me, and we're opposite reflections of each other,
like a mirror, right.
Except that I'm the feminine aspect and you're the masculine aspect.
That's what
And the Creator said He made man and male and female in His image. Right. So that's how I take. I don't take it as the opposing.
And not even when
it really is interesting. Like even with you know, going through the definitions, that basically a help me is all those things that you just said. We were taken out of the bone. Right. So that connecto is that it says against him, but we could take that against him and also say that's like an opposing thing. But I don't take it as that either. Right. I take it as I'm against him. I'm a bone of his bone, like side to side with him. Right. So we're in this journey together. The Creator, yes, He created Adam and He gave him a job to do. And now He created the woman to be with him in this aspect of life moving forward. When we're doing this side by side, I'm standing up against you, not an opposition, not, to be, having, warring with you. It's joined together with you to do this, what the Creator gave us to do.
So
it's just like,
go ahead, Ima. I can speak after you.
It's just like having a left side and a right side.
Right.
They both have their functions, but together, that's what makes the whole. And that's where a woman fits in. She fits in to be that softer version of a man, so that when he exercises his very, forceful energy and fiery energy, that she can calm him down. And even with her own fire, can add to it. You know what I'm saying? It is that opposition that you have to have sometimes in order for the thing to be perfect.
Kind of like with Nabal and Abigail.
Well, no, that's a different example.
No, I'm just saying that they're opposite, right? But, I'm just going on what he described. Like the man could be like rough and
no. With him, he was off the charts. He was
off the charts.
No.
If it wasn't for Abigail,
he's not.
That whole Her whole group of people would have been killed.
You know what's a better example is Esther and King Ahasuerus, where he has the power and he's strong and he can even put her to death if he wants to. But her soft side appeals to him because she comes in and approaches him in a manner which he can receive.
But to use the Nabal and Abigail in opposition, she did oppose him.
Yes, she did, but he didn't know she.
Right.
He didn't know he opposed him.
In his wrong. So how I looked at it is not to be, when we think about opposition, a lot of times we think about argument or fighting, right? No. But a lot of times I can oppose what it is that you say or do, especially if you are not living up to your potential.
There you
go. Not doing what it is that you are created to do, not being who it is that you are created to be. And I can even oppose if your behaviors are that counter that of the creator. You know what I'm saying? But in the same regard, have you? You know what I'm saying? And what you're saying, that mirror, which I like that, that mirroring of each other too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just for the meek, like just for us to just be like quiet. Sometimes it's important to speak up.
Let me tell you something too. I read in a book, and I advise all women to get this book if they can. I don't even know if it's still in print. It's called Pavilion of Women. And one of the lines, I don't remember the whole story, but it takes place, it's a Chinese empress in the palace of the emperor, of course. And I think she's the chief, the first wife or whatever be the case. But as she's speaking to her, as she's advising the women that are in the harem or whatever you might call it, or in the pavilion with her, is that she says, yes, we women are strong, but one of the things that we have to learn is that we must always rule in secret. And I love that.
I love that.
Yes, I did not forget that line because that's sometimes what you have to do. And sometimes you guide your men, but you can't openly guide them because they will resist and they will oppose you. They will because of that ego and the male presence. However, sometimes, and I see it, I give confidence to my daughter-in-law because when my son wants to get, and when she said, well, sweetheart, come on, sit down for a minute. Not like that. And I said to myself, here this dude is. I'm just watching him. He want to give me up. But here she is. She was come sit down, sweetheart. And I said, she's learned how to handle her husband.
Yeah, she has the mirror. And it just goes with, the guy has to respect you in order for you to show that type of authority. So I wouldn't say control. I think that's a poor word to use, but kind of bring down the situation or to calm down a scenario that occurs. He has that kind of respect for you in order for you to boost that woman feature inside of you to do that.
Right. Sometimes it doesn't always work because what happens is that he'll still up and up. So what she'll do is she'll go to silent treatment. And he hates that above all things.
Most men do.
He's verbose. And when he gets to silent treatment, it's like, and she says, I'm not going to argue with you. Sits down and he's very quiet. And boy, he's stunned. And she waits until all that blustering is over with. And then she says, now, do you want to sit down and talk about something? And I said, I said to myself, go ahead, girl. Get him.
Right. Nasika, you had something.
Yes. I wanted to talk more about being the topic, being a woman, and in this society, I consider being a woman is a backbone, meaning that we learn, like Azaria said, from a child. You could be a child, a sister, a niece, a cousin, mother, wife, friend, a good employee, or whatever. Why I say a backbone is because we all have the courage to move, especially when it's needed, right? So let's go into scientific way in regards to a backbone. A backbone actually is protecting your spinal cord. So Now I see us as women, as of today, we are protecting our men. We are protecting the Torah. So it is very important and very crucial for us to stay together in alignment. Because if one broken bone off of that, you know, the spinal cord, that's it.
End of story.
And that's it. So it's very important to understand, yes, we have a role, and it's very important to know the high expectations that we have to be as female. We strive for the best. That's why we have sisters to coach us, to push us. Like Ema. Okay, Ema, I'm not too sure how to make this particular dish, or Angel, but my husband loved
Yep.
this dish. I want to make sure he's right. And then, each one teach one. And that's what we're here for. And the more that we come together, the stronger our spinal cord will be.
Nice.
I have a quote that I want to say.
Oh, okay.
And Azaria, you next.
Okay.
And it's from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
All right.
So I think this is very appropriate to the topic that we're talking about, because we always send out energy of, feeling, a feeling mechanism. So I just wanted to put that quote out there as we talking, that, at the end of the day, that's why people are so loving to mothers, grandmothers, and things like that, because it's the way they make them feel, that love. What are you projecting as a woman? I mean, like I said, it always goes down into the definition of when we always nurturing, we have these things already in us. But how is that making that person feel? That was it.
Azaria.
So I want to make sure I put all this together right. If I have it in my head, right? So, when you start talking about being a woman and the nature of the woman, and, your womb is a place for comfort, right? So when it comes to interacting with your husband, I wanted to go back to the point about betrayal or being in opposition to the man. And so sometimes being a comfort to him, you have to bring him back to his senses, right? And it might not necessarily be so, you might have to call him down like, listen, you need to relax, right? And we see that in the story of Manoah, right? When they saw the messenger, and they went through all of that. They gave the offering, and then he had a freak out moment, right? And he was like, I'm going to just read it real quick. Right?
I was about to say that.
Huh?
I was just about to say that.
Oh, okay. He had a freak out moment. He was like, okay, it said, I'm in the book of Judges, Shoftim, chapter 13, verse 22, right? And he was like, and Manoah said to his wife, we shall certainly die because we have seen Elohim, right? He was like, oh my God, we about to die. And then it says, but his wife said to him, if Yahweh had been pleased to put us to death, he would not have accepted an ascending offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this, right? And to me, that was like, relax. Think about all that just happened here. Look at what the Most High is doing in our life right now. And you're really freaking out thinking we're about to die. We just got this awesome word that we're about to bear a child. And this child is special. And you freaking out because of what's in front of you is like something crazy you've never seen before. Calm down, relax, right? So sometimes being that comfort, you standing in opposition to them, you bring comfort, but it doesn't necessarily come in that gentle way. Sometimes you gotta feed upon their sensibilities, like bring them back to their senses.
I like that how you said that. Bring
Oh,
it.
Another example that would be the judge Deborah.
Oh yeah.
Right? She came on strong, like, look, sir, get it together.
I was saying,
Right.
piggybacking off of Nasika with the backbone, that took me back to Moshe's Isha.
Yes.
He had to circumcise their son.
Yep.
I mean, imagine that. Like, you know, it's not that he wasn't capable of doing it. It's not that he couldn't do it. It's just that I guess we don't know what his reasoning was. If he's anything like my husband, he's squirming from blood and stuff like that. So that could have been what was going on there. He's like, no, I can't be the butcher because I can't do it. I'm a vegan. I'm vegetarian. I don't want to. And the wife had to come, you know, and do what she had to do to save the entire nation. So I think we often save our families and be the backbone, as Nasika was saying. I just wanted to piggyback off of that.
So being that we were on a topic, so we can agree that there's a level of there is the protection that is there. We talked about opposition, whether it is for whether right or wrong, or an opposite of one another and mirroring one another, right? Seeing one another, but understanding that we have differences, but yet we are similar, right? When we think about the first woman, Kawa, like what kind of comes to mind? Because, you know, again, because it's Hebrew and we got to kind of like come back, get to our roots. I broke down Kawa too, right? And most people will say like it's meaning life, or being that she was first woman, giver of life. But it is Aramaic, for those that may not know it. It's declared Aramaic, and in Hebrews 2:23-31, it says Aramaic in origin to tell, declare, explain, show, displaced. I mean, not displaced, display. And that's found, and in that regard, is found mostly in the book of Job or Job. Also, Psalms 52 verse 11 is a reference for it as well. But then there's the Hebrew 23:33 in a concordance. When you have the kawa with the dagesh, the dot, so to speak. Now is a noun in nature and feminine, and it means tent, village, towns. And that's in Numbers 32:41, Deuteronomy 3:14, Joshua, Judges, Kings, Chronicles. It talks about this tent or village, or a reference to a town. And I was like, Kawa, a tent. And then it brought me back to the word of like protection when we talk about Isaiah Kenegdo, and I thought about the protection and things of that nature. But when you think about the first woman, Kawa, and even in creation, what comes to mind?
Let me see.
I like how everybody just said, "Ooh,
yeah." There are a lot of thoughts that come to mind. It's a jumble of thoughts. It's
bring it out.
It's the continuation of mankind through her. It is the side that is necessary in order to have balance. There's a lot of thoughts that come to my mind at that point. I don't know that I'm expressing them all so well, but definitely I think of those things.
You know, what I think about is the Most High saved the best for last.
That's all right.
Okay. No, you know, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to, mess with men, but we were last.
I can hear one of those brothers talking about. See there with them women.
It's just a little humor. It's just a little good humor.
Going back to the disclaimer.
But disclaimer. It is the truth. It is the truth.
Well, one quote that I found, it says, Kawa, embodies both the essence of life itself and the creative ability to grant that life to others. And that kind of stuck with me too. And because oftentimes she's associated with evil or bad. Disobedience, absolutely. And then from there, we get cursed. And then it's just like the spiraling. You know what I mean? Everything that seems more negative, more so than the attributes that she could possess. Like what Chantel just said, right? She's like, save the best for last. Because what's interesting is that the creator said it's not good for man
to be alone.
Let me create this. Let me create someone for him. So it also makes me think, well, it wasn't necessarily for him to do it alone. And it's much, and we think about creation, and I'm sure it was much to be done. You know what I mean? So did that make her equal to? Can we give that? Because a lot of times, we down.
I'm gonna go with equal,
right?
I'm gonna go with the equal.
Just as a parenthetical thought, I think this is a secular thought. I think that one of the things that, whether you agree one way or the other, which I know most Israelite women I know are pro-life according to the thing. But I think that's what brings such rancor into the abortion issue, is because people realize that women have this ability to either bring forth life or to stop it. And I think it's the fear that fuels that issue so much. And why people don't want to put that in the power, that power in the hand of a woman, not realizing that it's really not in her hands. You see what I'm saying? For all the conveyances and all the means for a woman to do this kind of thing, I think that's what puts the fear in it. And most Eastern women that I know of, they don't think of destroying the life within them. If anything, they're upset if they can't bring forth life. That is the difference in the Eastern and the Western thinking, I think. And I don't mean it to go off into an issue, because we're not just discussing abortion here. I just put that in, and that's why I say it's a parenthetical thought. I thought about this when I hear people arguing and screaming about the abortion issue, and I'm saying it's the fear that's fueling it.
So what I think about when I hear the word kava, I think I was doing a lot of research, and I came up. What I found was one meaning to breathe, to live, or to give life. So it's like kava. When I hear the word kava, that means to me living in the moment, not being okay. We understand our past, but we're gonna correct our future. So we gotta live in the moment. When I hear the word kava, that means life. That means let's deal with today and not worry about yesterday. So that's my intake in regards to the word kava.
I like that. I see in the chat, one says ego and alter ego of one another. What do y'all think about that?
Very good. Yeah,
That's a good one.
sounds good.
Chantel.
You want
Go ahead, Chantel.
Okay. I agree. I say that, women and men are equal, but not in a sense of the roles, but just in a sense of what they have to do, that was given to them by the creator, right? Because he gave them, even though he gave Adam charge over naming the animals and taking care of the garden, obviously he knew he couldn't do that by himself, right? So you have that, he created the woman, and the woman is there to help along with in whatever capacity she can do, but it is to bring about, filling the earth, taking care of it, having charge over all that the Most High has created. So in that sense,
Right.
I say that they're equal in the purpose that the Creator gave, just that their roles are a little different. And so
I
it's,
That's true.
so even like what Nasika said with living in the moment, us women, we have, sometimes we do, you know, consider the past a lot, but we know how to like stop. We still got to take care of business today, right now, you know.
Right.
So I really like that. And, of course, I'm always big on the breath. I love the breath because the breath represents the Creator in me. And so that's always a start to what I need to understand about who I am in regards to Him. What is it? I didn't answer the question, but what is it to be a woman? That's something that, we were given these roles, but I didn't grow up learning what it is to be a woman. I just knew that this is who I am in this role. And this is, just by watching the women around me, but there wasn't no set, like, I'm going to tell you, girl, this is what we're going to do. This is how you do this. And this is,
no manual.
right. There's never any manuals for us. And I don't think there's any set manuals for men either. I just think that being a woman is just being. We are who we are. This is our bodies. This is our mind. This is our feelings. This is, our thoughts, So I never had, it's really an interesting question. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to slip it in anyway. I'm going to slip it in. I'm going to slip it in.
I'm ready.
Because when we talked about this question, what happened a couple of weeks ago, right? With the judge thing, you don't know what a woman, there was a whole big controversy about that, right?
Yes.
Sorry, about that.
We all know she know what is a woman, but she has a role that she is trying to accomplish, and she has to answer in a way that is suitable for all who is going to vote for her. But let's all be clear. She know what a woman is. But that was really interesting to talk about this, bring up this topic around this time with her.
Right.
But I like
the question.
But I like that you even brought that up in a sense, and even to your point when you were talking, it made me also think about when you said, I hate when I was thought, but it was more the fact of narrative. So it's interesting when you said we don't really, there's no manual, right? There's no manual, but there's sure a lot of narratives that are based upon women. And if you want to be even more specific, women of color, right? There's all these varying narratives about us. Right. You know what I mean? To the point of going back to the judge, right?
Yeah.
You gotta play to pay. So you gotta play to, you gotta, what is it? Pay to play.
Pay to play.
So to speak, right? You gotta kind of go with this flow and create this image, just to be seen in a respectful manner.
Come on.
Right? To be seen in not in a less than position, right? Because you're trying to obtain something that many would say that you shouldn't even be doing. You know what I'm saying?
And just to piggyback before we go more into topics, going back to the backbone and everything else like that, going back into, of course, Torah is, I feel like it's decision making when it comes down to females. I mean, we have to make decisions in everything that we do. And unfortunately, some decisions is not the best ones. And I think that that's a big thing to me. What stood out to me was right in the beginning is like, okay, the right decision making, even if it looks, like a diamond shines bright, it may not be the best option. And us as women, bringing it back to the topic at hand, we have to make certain decisions, and we have to make certain decisions in the best outcome for everybody and just not for ourselves. And with certain actions, we learn definitely, like, it might just be my decision, but it can hurt or hinder others in my family or friends or even cousins, or it can go on and on and on. And that's exactly what it showed in the Torah as well, an action and a decision. And I feel like a lot of the times decisions is very, very falled upon on women, especially in this day and age, with holding down households, being a one parent person supporting the household, filling the man's shoes in the household. A lot of decisions have to be made. And sometimes, you know, if you don't have a support team, it's a possibility that your decision may not be the best one and people may fault you for it. But we have to start looking at the wider picture of a lot of scenarios. So again, that's why it's good to have a sisterhood. That's why it's good to be in this way of life. It's good to have talks like this, because our decision making is going to enhance our growth as a nation and also as an individual. So that's it.
Yeah,
So-
that's it. Sorry, go ahead.
Angel, go ahead.
That's I'm just, you know, that's where I was going with it. Just piggybacking off of that, as well as internalizing the whole story and how it's written and everything like that, and comparing it to today's life. I think we pass a lot of judgment on our sister, our mother, because there are things. So like she said, decision making, right? You're not supposed to eat this, or you're supposed to wear 100% this and 100% that. So I might go to the store and see something that's not 100%, but it's so cute though, right? But I want to wear it. I mean, we do the same things today that we pass judgments about what they did in the in the Torah. So again, decision making, even reflecting on yourself to make sure that you're not doing exactly what you're teaching against or so much against doing.
So, I was going to say, going back in the beginning, we talked about the question itself. So, what I would like for you all to do, and we can go in alphabetical order if you want us to. Nah.
Right.
Look at Azaria. She was like, really?
First.
She said she first.
But to the question, when this came up, what is it to be a woman? I'm curious as to where did you guys go? What did you guys draw out in your studying, in your looking this up?
For me, you know, that's why I kind of stopped, because I figured we all would have the same stuff. But it took me straight to Proverbs, you know, the comparison of, okay, specifically, I landed on Proverbs 4, 6-7, which I'm not going to read. But, you know, if you get a chance, read that. And it just basically sums up. People say the Most High describes wisdom as us, but I think we were created in the image of wisdom. So with that being said, he created wisdom before he created mostly anything, right? So were we created last? I don't know. I'm just saying. Because he put that ruach within us to be a helpmate to Adam, right? Which is what he needed himself in the beginning. So it's kind of like he gave us the elements within our ruach to be that helpmate.
Come on.
And, you know, you could continue reading the whole of Proverbs.
I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to read it.
Yes.
Because that's powerful. Okay. So
You want me to bring it up?
Oh, you can if you want to, or I can just read it out. It doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 4, verses 6-7. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve you. Love her, and she shall keep you. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom. Therefore, use all your means to acquire understanding.
Go ahead, Angel. That was a good one.
That was great.
That's a good one. I get a little tab in my book real quick tonight.
Right. That's what I was like, wait a no. Go ahead, Chantel.
So I wanted to share one also that reminded me of even when he created Eve for Adam, right? In Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 29 and 30, it says, when he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not transgress his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth, then I, wisdom, was by him as a nursling, and I was daily all delight, playing always before him.
Yes.
So when I read this, it it kind of dawned on me that what he created was what he had.
Exactly.
Right. So, with Angel, he was given to man what he had. Here I am, and then I have wisdom, so I'm giving you something just as special to be a delight and stuff. So
I have a Proverbs too, since we're doing
Come
Proverbs.
on. Right.
Okay. Mine is Proverbs 11:16. A kind-hearted woman gains honor, but ruthless men gain only wealth. So as we talking about women, as we talking about being a woman, and we always bring up people who we feel did a wonderful job in our life and things that we can take away from them. That's the honor. They gain the honor in a kind-hearted woman gains honor. So I thought that was a really good one in Proverbs as well. Because at the end of the day, your name is everything. You know, you tarnish your name, it doesn't matter if you have $1 million. Your name is
Right,
everything.
right.
You want to be recognized as somebody with honor.
Exactly.
So that was my.
And can I say one thing also about the manual, right? Because we're bringing up Proverbs, and so you know, when I said I didn't have that manual, I'm talking about amongst my family, right? But we do absolutely have a manual, as many chat has been pointing out. And one of the manuals, right, is that Proverbs 31. Now, I don't know about all of you, but when I read Proverbs 31, I was like, I cannot be her. I cannot. I don't like getting up early. I don't have my own job. I don't have my own business.
Wow.
When you read that, even as a young woman coming into being a woman, you're like, what? How to do all of that? And take care of him, the household. I don't have servants. I don't have what? I don't sew. And I was having all types of palpitations.
Yeah, I can see definitely having that, Chantel. But I think it's all about grooming, right? And making sure you have the right the Zaquinas around you and your sisters to groom you, because you're not going to learn it overnight. So therefore, you have to, what it says in there, teach it to your children so that you can learn how to do it. And then you don't even have to look at it anymore. You know it in your mind, you know it in your heart, and you know it in your soul. So getting back to the Proverbs, I'm going back to your 8th chapter, which I love. I'm going to your 12th verse. I wisdom dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of devices. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound is wisdom. I am understanding. Power is mine. So the Most High is telling you right then and there, at the end of the day, you are powerful. You are worthy. You know, we have to take it another notch further and understand our mission here in this world. The Most High gave it to us. He put it to us on a platter. Now it's our time to eat it.
So now I'm gonna talk. Now
I'm sorry. Can we just pull up Proverbs 31? That's one of my favorites. A lot of
all right, I'll pull it up. Just give me a second.
As she's pulling it up, I'm gonna challenge a little bit.
Yeah,
let's see, because you know.
Can I get a word in too?
Oh, of course, you can talk right now.
Well, one of the things, one of the proverbs that I thought about was Proverbs 14:1, where it says, "Every wise woman buildeth her house, and the foolish plucketh it down with her own hands." But I also thought it was telling that wisdom is described as a woman. It's given a feminine character. And while we talk about Proverbs 31 being the manual, we have to remember that the reason why this woman can consider it a feel and buy it is because she has a man who is protecting her and taking care of her. The reason why she may go abroad is because her husband has given her the confidence to do this, because he is taking care of his portion of what he should be taking care of. So I know a lot of times we want to say, "Oh, that's," and I know some of the brothers definitely, and some of the sons have pointed to this, oh, this is what you should be and whatnot like that. But they don't realize that a woman can only operate in this realm if she has the backing and the support of the men in her life and the family.
And Ema, that's correct. Wasn't I saying that last night, y'all? I said, I don't know how come they always want to get these wives, but we don't never get the helpmates. The helpmates is supposed to come first. Not the helpmates. What do you call them?
The husband?
Yeah.
Handmaids.
The handmaids. Yes, there you go. Handmaids. They're supposed to come first,
So I was stirring the pot a little bit with Nasika's comment, because you talk about he gave us our purpose, right? Many, and there's a lot of young sisters, right, that might be listening, right? When you say that purpose, what's that purpose?
I can read it to you again, which the purpose is. The purpose is right here. It says again.
Where's that? 8:12?
8:14.
8:14.
Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. Power is mine. So when we understand, we gain our wisdom, and when we gain our wisdom, we gain the power where we can give it off to others. That's where it's at.
Thank you. And I love that you did that, and I love that Ema even brought it to where I was actually going with it too. Is that wisdom is a blueprint. Wisdom is a blueprint. When the Creator describes, and a lot of times when you look throughout the Tanach, and not just Proverbs 31, but when you look out throughout the Tanach, when wisdom speaks, that feminine divine spirit, right? Like, that's a way that we can even use in guidance where Nasika was basically saying, right? In particular, there are specific characteristics that wisdom holds. And that it's relayed to us through scripture. And so we can then learn, right? And this is the beauty of the word of the Most High God, is that we can learn how to take some of those things and learn how to impart them in ourselves. So when we started, Angel said, I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm there yet. But for many women who think like that, right? Because there's times I'm like, you know what? I'm not that far removed. Give me a minute. Sometimes I have to, there is something that I can refer to, right? In situations of times of distress, there's certain things I can refer to that will tell me, hey, hold on, sis, feminine spirit, you know what I mean? The divine within you, you know what I mean? How about taking this route? Think about this way. Or I take a word just like now and learn how to impart that in myself, and then be able to bring that out unto others. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
And I think another thing is going back to Proverbs 31. I know we, just touched a little on it. Is going to the 10th verse. If you can pull that up, I just want to just read that, and you'll see where I'm coming from. It talks about the worth of a woman. We are worth. It says a woman of value who can find, for her price is far above rubies. That's telling us right there that, whatever situation we in or how people treat us, we need to be treated on a certain level. A lot of the qualifications of the third of this proverb is very, maybe even over the top to some people, but just that one line to me, when I always read it, it always showed me that I'm worth so much more than maybe I can even think of, and Yah sees me as this light. So if he sees me as such, I deserve to have people around me to treat me in a certain way. I deserve to have a mate that treats me this certain way. And like the whole thing should be surrounded on a level of I'm far more than Ruby. So I mean, like, not even just reading the whole thing, but just at that point, then if you start looking at things in that lens, you will realize that you can achieve more, you can do more. Like, it's like one of those motivational lines, because you put yourself up to a high standard, and then people will see you like that.
Yeah, you just gotta, as my chief would say, gain wisdom, and understanding, because without wisdom, you can't have understanding. So to gain wisdom, you have to get understanding, right? That's when you say it right. So, but the understanding is to depart from evil, because you can be wise in anything, right? You can be wise in folly and you can be wise in righteousness.
You can.
So make sure you're doing it to be wise in righteousness. Gain the knowledge that you need to obtain to keep wisdom with you, because you don't want wisdom to also depart from you. That is such a thing that is mentioned also in the book.
Yes.
So, Azaria, what is it to be a woman? You heard it. Where did you go?
Well, you guys kind of touched on it because I went to Proverbs chapter 4 as well. And what I thought about it when I read it, Proverbs verse 6, chapter 4, verse 6. Do not leave her and let her guard you. Love her and let her watch over you. The beginning of wisdom is get wisdom.
There you
And
go.
with all your getting, get understanding.
There we go.
You guys have touched on it here and there. Everybody has said it, but that's powerful. The beginning of wisdom is to get wisdom. And with all your getting, get understanding.
Right.
Exalt her and let her uplift you. She brings you esteem when you embrace her. And what I thought about when I read that was that the things that jumped out to me on that was let her guard you, watch over you, and let her uplift you.
Right.
And I started to consider my role as wisdom in my home, right? Applying wisdom when I'm interacting with my niece, when I'm interacting with my children. I have to watch over them. I have to guard them and I have to uplift them. But first, I have to have the wisdom to do that, right?
Yes.
And when I think Iman said, foolish woman tears her house down with her own hands.
That's right.
The real world example of that, so many times, it was two examples. I don't know if I should speak specifically to them, but so many times I've seen when a situation occurs, right? And a man can do the most ridiculous thing, the most appalling behavior, right? And it's not until a woman reacts to it until it becomes out of control, right? So many times I had a conversation with an imam. Basically, she was telling me how this was early in my marriage, and I was just trying to get some type of advice or whatever. And she told me, she said, well, you know what? Looking back on the situation, before I responded to my husband, I would have prayed first. And her whole thing was that when he was doing things that she didn't like, she would just react, right? And looking back on it, she should have dealt with him in wisdom, basically, because it ended in her not having him anymore. They actually separated. And she said that when she looked back on that situation, if she would have applied wisdom to interacting with him, maybe her household would have still been intact. Maybe she would have been able to have a better life.
Right.
These were her words, a better life. Because in the grand scheme of things, the issues that she was reacting to, she was overreacting. And if she would have dealt with it with wisdom,
right.
Titus 2020.
The situation wouldn't have gotten out of hand like it did. So when I think about that, I say, well, as women, we can't just react. We have to react in wisdom. And pretty much because you got to hold the house there. You got to hold the fort down. And having wisdom also means observing your situation, observing who's around you, your children, your husband, the outside forces, and analyzing it from a wise perspective. And even if it's something that you might want to react to a certain kind of way, that separates the girls from the women. The girls, they react a certain way. The women react a certain kind of way. So that's where it took me to.
Love
You
that.
guys are giving me so much. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm taking it all in. But that's where I went with it. Yeah.
No, but it's
And not to let the men intrude, but as your East says, Azaria, we're only one decision away from going one way or the other.
the other.
Yes.
So
true.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep with. Ima,
Yes.
when you heard what is it to be a woman, where did that take you?
It took me, let me see, where did it take me? I guess it took me in a sort of cosmic experience, maybe, about the role that our women have played throughout our history.
Okay.
And from the very beginning right up to the present day and even beyond, I'm thinking about how strong our women had to be. And even within that strength, how much they needed strength they needed to be supported in that strength. I thought about the things that our women have borne in order to protect our men and our families. I thought about the abuse that has been heaped on us both from inside and outside. And the fact that the Most High has been so gracious to us that he has allowed us to survive despite that. I think of women like Harriet Tubman and Ida B. Wells and the other women who stood up as women, even in the face of opposition and in the face of degradation, in the face of fear of their lives, even to make it better so that their children and others, the children of our people, would have a better chance at life and whatnot. And I think about those sacrifices. I think about the sacrifice of my own grandmother who used to sit there at night sewing, even though her eyesight was going, and how she would still make sure that our clothes were clean, and how she took on these odd jobs as a superintendent and whatnot that I heard about in order to support her family when her Ish had passed away and whatnot. I think about those things go through my mind, and I think about how could we have even survived to this day if it were not for the strength of our women. And our oppressors, understanding this, are now trying to break down our women and make them something that they're not. So I think about these things. All these things came in, it's like a conglomerate of stuff that comes into my mind.
Right. I agree. Ooh, that was deep, Ima. Ooh, because you make us really think. This is why I appreciate you and all of our Imas to make us think again. Like, this is not the first time we're doing this. There's plenty generations behind us that did this and had to do it more worse situations than we're dealing with right now. And so that's where I appreciate being a woman, in that aspect.
Right. And I think one of the misconceptions is that because we are so strong and because we have survived through the grace of the Most High, that people think we don't need help and we don't need support. And so therefore we don't always get it, let me put it that way.
And we normalize that.
That's right.
We normalize that. I had I think it was Angel and I was talking about this again last night about when she brought up the handmaid. Like, people talk about, you want to have like many wives and things of that nature, right? And not to bring up the topic like in that way, but people want to do all of that, but then they don't think about the responsibility, like the collective side of things. Like, how about obtaining a handmaiden? Like, help that sister out, help that wife out. Like, I get what you may want, but sometimes help that sister out. And in that, what we were really saying was, especially Western culture, we fell into this, right? Because this is where we were shipped, right? We generation upon generation being here, and we've normalized that, especially when like women bear children, and this is, we were talking about that in particular, that what happens is that it's the thought that she has to do everything by herself. Once that child is born, she, let alone forget about getting your body together, right? Your body has just gone through this traumatic experience, right? And you've brought forth life, and there's beautiful things that are associated with that, right? But oftentimes you also find, especially in this country, we deal a lot with postpartum. Thank you, postpartum depression and things of that nature, right? And a lot of that also comes from this idea that she has to do it alone.
Right.
And even though there are people around her, it's solely on mother to do. You know what I mean? And we kind of normalize that, when in reality, it is a collective thing. It is a familial thing. It's not just for her. Why? Because it would, one, give her woman time, right? Time to get back to her, you know?
Right.
Get to her back, to have moments for herself. Time to kind of take a breath. You just been through this for, you know,
normalize her hormones.
You know what I mean? Hormones and all these things to get back into alignment. And yet, you know, and you have the feeding aspect, and yes, that's the bonding time, you know, face to face, but then it's family. And when it's that time to help her make sure she gets what she needs, and someone cater to her, as well as cater to baby. And we've forgotten that aspect of it. And we adopt this behavior, right? This thought process of, I got to do it. So we forget to ask for help. We don't think to ask. It's beyond us. Well,
right.
Do it myself.
I don't need it. I can do it.
I've heard this a lot from women. Don't worry about it. I'll just do it myself. But it's like, but you don't have to. Like, I'm saying, here, let me help you. You know what I mean? Or sister, you're not by yourself. But we have to get back into that mode also of knowing how to be there for one another, which is
exactly
platforms like this, right? Where we're learning, and it seemed weird to say it, but we're learning what it is to be a sister. We're learning levels of sisterhood. You know what I mean? We're learning how, when we talk about being my sister's keeper, how we kind of can go about that. You know what I mean? And doing away with the myth that women can't get along, because we understand that that's not true. That's not true. You know what I mean?
Just think about what it would mean if a sister who just gave birth didn't have to cook for a month for the rest of her family. Didn't have to do the laundry for a month. Think about it. Just think about the difference it would make in that woman's body healing, in her psyche healing, without her having to suffer from that kind of depression, because she's getting help, especially if she's got multiple children.
Right.
I would have loved to have been the Ema that was there when Azaria was having them. You know, and when Angel was at you know what I mean? I would have loved to have been there, because I realized just how important it was. I had the pleasure of being able to help one set of godchildren's that mother for a while, but I couldn't do it as often as I wanted to do it. And I realized that even that little while made a difference in how she recovered and how she was able to deal with her situation. So,
it does work, Ema, because I saw it firsthand. When my mom had my brother last, my grandmother came over, washed all of our clothes, made sure we went to school, make sure we ate and everything. And that gave my mother somewhat a better peace of mind, knowing that that's one less challenge that she has to deal with. Dealing with, you know, getting her body back and still focusing on the newborn. And that is very important. And I think we need to start doing that again, even if it's one meal, you know, or look, now we could call on the phone and do Uber Eats, you know.
I'm gonna say, our sister Yael is great on that.
Right. She is.
And going back to having Ema and Zaklina, right? Did I say that right? Okay. As she would say, they can teach us things that we can't learn from a hospital, such as belly binding, steaming, certain foods to eat, stuff like that, that she is awesome at, you know, that you can get within your own roots and your own family. And even whoever you might know, even if you don't have that family. So call on Ima Naomi and ask her what was her birthing ritual or what was her, you know, whatever. And she said she's here for y'all. I'm not having no time soon, but y'all call her.
Me either.
That's one of the reasons why my granddaughter and I are so close, is because the first night her mother brought her home, she was, for some reason, well, not for the usual reason, I fell asleep, of course, in my clothes in the recliner. Looked like my second bed, or first bed, I even say. But what happened is that she had been screaming and hollering all night, and they called me like 4:35 in the morning. Ima, she just won't stop crying. She just won't stop this and that and everything like that. I said, okay, I'm coming right over. So I washed my face, rinsed my mouth out, and I went over there and I picked her up and put her on my right shoulder. And she stopped just right like that. And they looked like, they were like, what? You know, I told them, you go and lay down and go to sleep. I said, when it's time for her, because the mother was nursing, I said, when it's time to feed her, that's what I'll get you. Unless you want to pump now, and then I'll give it to her. And she was able to go down and get a little bit of rest because I took her. And then ever since then, because they lived right across the hall from me at that time, they didn't have to worry about washing her clothes. They didn't even take her out of her pajamas to bring her over to my house because I was keeping her. But that help that I was able to give them during that time, especially since she was a child with special needs, with a sickle cell disease, they were that helped them so much. And they, even today, still let me know how much they appreciate that. So,
you know what I think about when having this discussion about, you know, postpartum and all the things that happens after birth, and how women just still take it upon themselves to just keep moving, can't stop. You know, it brings me to the scripture about when the women had a male child, when they had a female child. If they had a male child, they had 33 days.
Yeah,
33 days of purification after giving birth. So, and then if they had a female child, there was 66 days, right? So it makes me wonder what was taking place during that time. You know, like, you know, she didn't have to, you know, obviously be a part of going to the temple or service or whatever. So what took place during that time? You know,
well,
so,
to show you
how to hear the time.
Yeah, to show you that even the medical profession recognized that, because they give a woman 6 weeks
to 8 weeks,
6 to 8 weeks before she heals, and that's you know.
Right, but that, you know, the doctors say that, and that is pertaining to don't have sex in that period of time. Sorry to say that, right? But when she crosses the threshold of her home, that's a whole nother story, especially if she have other children.
Right.
So
no, I get that. But what I'm saying is that it's even based on their calculations, are even based on our scriptures.
That's what I'm
saying.
That's exactly what it is.
With that,
we took care of their children. I mean, come on.
Which is part of the issue, right?
That is exactly right.
We all taking care of somebody else and not taking care of our own. You know what I'm saying? But it's part of the issue. But
this is why it's a series.
You're right. You know, but these are things that we've normalized. We've normalized that. So when we see a sister amongst us who might be going through things, we don't necessarily consider her first. And that's with anything, not even just childbirth. When our sisters, when we go through things one and another, right? One, you know, within ourselves, and it can show. A lot of times, are we tapping each other and going, "Hey, you all right?"
I do.
You know, so I'm saying in the general sense, and I'm saying in the general sense because the beautiful part about this is that in being in this way of life, I think one of the things that we've learned automatically is like we're drawing back to our roots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're getting a better understanding. I think now probably more so than ever because we're completely in the age of information, right? It's really literally at our fingertips. we are getting back to understanding what our roots are and the importance of each other. Because we hear those proverbs in African proverbs that we grew up with, like, girl, take a village to raise a child. No, really, it took a village. Like,
Literally.
it wasn't just mommy
Literally.
and daddy. It was the village, because you had auntie so and so, uncle so and so, and they weren't no relation. You know what I mean? So we're getting back to that. You know, auntie such and such, say hi to auntie such and such. We're getting back to that mode. But one thing that I thought about was like how we start to react one to another, and that's also self-reflection, right? So we talk about our mates, but how do we look and view one another when we're standing mirror in mirror, when we're mirrored to each other? You know what I mean? Do you see yourself in your sister? Do you take the time to see yourself in your sister? You know what I mean? Or vice versa. And what I liked is that I think it was Ima Zarita said, women are like trees planted by the rivers of waters, strong, not to be moved, drinking of the waters always, right? We have to get back to also the point, and this is where I think about Hayafa and self-care, right? We also have to get back to that point of drinking the water. We can't be these pillars. We can't be strong rooted, right? Trees. We can't be firm if we're not getting the nutrients that we need.
There you go.
What comes from the sun, we know what comes from water. So what is your water? Is your water Torah? Is your water kind words? What is your water?
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Those roots are not fed, they die.
They die. And I think a lot of time what has happened, in my opinion, is that we died a little bit. There's, you know, you ever see a tree that's somewhat rotted but still trying to hold on and survive?
So the concrete
create other forces of itself and lean and go in another direction.
That's right.
We've mastered that. We've mastered that in a sense. But what I'm saying is, let's not normalize that. Let's begin to normalize self-care, because it starts with self first. Right. And going to Zaria's point earlier, and angels, get wisdom first.
Right.
That's it. Above all else, there has to be a level of understanding of what it is that we want. That starts with first acknowledging that there's something you need.
Right. And also it's acknowledging who's in your community. There's people in the community that are able to help and assist with certain situations that occur in your lifestyle.
Right.
If you're having a financial issue right now, Deborah Mack gives a meeting every Thursday, and there's a group of us and other outsiders who she's taking questions from, who, if you working on that financial goal, she's helping you. Like, there's people out there and in the community that at this point of just getting a consultation is not even charging you anything, just to get you back on your feet, just to get you in a direction of where you need to be. Deborah Mack is one of them, but then there's also a lot of people out here who does health education in our community. You want to feel better, get better. You have certain ill elements with you that you're not able to do certain things. There's people in our community. So I think that at this point it's just revising how we're looking at things and really looking at the scholars in our community who's able to assist to bring us up. And we all realizing at the same time that we may be all facing similar challenges, and you know, we just got to get together and just rise up from the situation. Another point that I wanted to bring up real quick was when we were talking about the Black woman, and Ima touched about it too, how, you know, sometimes we just defined as the angry Black woman, and things like that, and that comes a lot from our past or our challenges. And that goes from what I just said, that I think in order to get out of that mentality, or even feeling like that, or maybe even looking like that and not realizing it, is channeling into people that might be able to assist us. And like you said again, you know, Hayafa, she just put her thing up, but I mean, with the self-care, I mean, I think that's a big one if we just start right there.
That's right. Opening your mouth and asking for help.
Right. And remembering that the helpers need help. Don't strengthen that part. That they get tired of giving. Because we have a tendency to do that. We find out that you're a giving person, and here they go.
But one thing also, I just want to mention too, because we get so fixated for somebody to help us, But we have to remember, not in man do we trust. We have to trust in the Most High first. So we have to take it back to why we are here, our foundation. Because, like they say, if you take one step, the Most High will take 5 steps for you. But you have to want it. So at the end of the day, if you know you need that help, you pray. You ask the Most High, please guide me, or please help me bring somebody to me to help me and to assist me.
Exactly.
But don't sit there and think that that person is going to constantly bail you out, because that has to change and it has to stop.
And having the wisdom to know where the help comes.
Right. To recognize it.
Come on.
But to recognize it. Because oftentimes you praying for something, right? And it's staring you in the face.
Right.
But you're not tapped into it because you're not expecting it to come from her.
Exactly.
Because you're too busy doing it. You know what I mean? Because you haven't got past that. That's the trauma. And I think it might have been Shavanya in the chat earlier was talking about, we have so much trauma. And I know everybody be like on a tea trip, but it's the truth. And it's not to necessarily use it as an excuse, but understand it.
Intergenerational trauma.
It is a generational trauma, but you have to understand it. You know what I mean? Like, even if we take a step back, look at our foremothers, right? We use the book. We look at our foremothers and try to understand how to emulate the rock to which you are hewn. But you can also do that with your mothers that are right next to you. Your mothers in your own family. I always bring up the example. I didn't get to really understand or know my mother until after she was dead. Well, after she died. And she died when I was fairly young, and still felt like I needed my mama. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't
she died when you're old.
Right. But I didn't understand her always. And it wasn't until I understood her story, but I didn't hear her story from her. I heard her story from my aunt, who then started to impart this wisdom on me that had me to open up my eyes to really who my mother was. And I start to look at her even though I love my mother, but even in a greater light.
Exactly.
Because then I'm like, dang, that's what you had.
You're right, Hayama.
That's what you went through. That's what you bored yourself. You understand what I'm saying? But what we have to learn how to do is, although they did it that way, understand that we don't always have to do it that way.
Right.
We don't have to keep.
If you want it to change, you got to start with yourself.
You have to start with yourself, which is to
man in the mirror. Yep.
Go to, look up.
Look up.
To where your help come from.
That's right.
Go to the Creator, yes. Also recognize, but also do the work. And that is something that I'm learning, because what's around us and what's surrounding our community right now, if we're really opening our eyes and paying attention, I feel like it's such a great time to be a woman in Israel right now.
It is.
Yes.
Don't believe that. I need you to call me and I will tell you why. And I will pump you up, because it's such a great time to be a woman in Israel, because we are getting back to something.
Praise God.
But we're getting back to that structure. We're getting back to that understanding. We're getting back to what it was that we've lost. We're creating it for ourselves. We're making it our own. We're doing it in the here and now. You understand what I'm saying? But we're going back to something, that essence, that feeling, that spirit of, you know what I mean? And it starts with what we're doing right now. There's so much. Sister Tamar just had her event, right? Where you women on the rise, and she has women on the rise. Let's talk about what each other's doing. How you shine.
Networking.
Your shine don't dim my light.
No, it's brighter.
It makes it brighter, because now I can look to someone else.
Come on.
Right.
It's not just me. I'm looking at a platform. I'm on a platform, and I'm looking at a bunch of women that, believe it or not, whether you say it or not, I learn from you all. You know what I mean? Because I want to do that.
That's right.
I want to do that. So going back to this, you have to want. I think the speaker Shakina said, you have to want. You gotta want to put in that work. And I think that's the space that we're in. So in understanding and being like, what is it to be a woman? It is a loaded question. And it's full of all these hills and valleys, right? That kind of goes with it, but that's growth, right? But in it, we're learning The importance of wisdom. That's what I heard a lot of tonight.
Yes.
We're learning the importance of wisdom. We're learning how to look in scripture, because I think a lot of us probably pulled out a little something that made us go,
Oh yeah.
okay. You know what I mean? To make us consider. So we're learning how to do that. And we're learning how to communicate one to another, even with different opinions and ideas. We're learning from each other, and being able to walk away with something, which is what I hope everyone out there was able to do.
Right. Right.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, Zarya.
I just wanted to, I see the comments going across the screen when I'm
Mhm.
listening, but I know your initial question was,
What is it to be a
you
woman?
said, when I see my sister, what did you say initially? You said, when I look at my sister, what do I see?
What do
Is
I
that what
see?
you said?
Mhm.
I think that's what you said that had my mind going.
Mhm.
You said, when I look at my sister, what do I see? Or around that. And I saw Hayafa had made a comment. She said, we have to stop acting like we don't have issues.
Nice. Yes,
And
yes.
I think that when I look at my sister, I see an enemy. I want to see an ally, but something deeply within me sees an enemy. Not every time, not
Right.
every time,
No, no.
right? Because then somebody would say, "Oh, Azaria, she has issues." I don't see an enemy when I see my sister, right?
Right.
That's her issue. I wonder what she's been through. And we like to detach ourselves from that
Yes.
idea, right?
Mhm.
Until we get into a setting anywhere, a job, an assembly, a party, a family function. And it's clear that when I see my sister, I see an enemy. Unless my sister is my best friend for this many years, or we've been together this long, or I know I have an ally in that person for sure. Most of the time, especially in our community, when we see each other, we see an enemy. We don't want to see an enemy. We desire to have that closeness, and we desire to have that companionship, but we do see an enemy. And I feel like, I'll give you an example, and this is something that I saw before, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. We had went to like one of those spa bathhouse places where it was my first time doing something like that. And at first I was like, I was taken aback, because you got the women walking around and everybody's kind of like all out in the open, right? But then when I really looked at it, I said, wow, it was a set of Asian sisters over here. It was some Ethiopian sisters over here. They had Mexicans over there. It was some French sisters over here, and all these different languages they were speaking, right? And when I examined the situation for what it was, all of these different nationalities, they were washing each other's backs. They were wringing their hair out, washing each other's hair. They were patting each other's backs and massaging their backs. And the sisters weren't doing that. The sisters I was with, we weren't doing that. Don't touch me.
Don't touch
You know
me.
what I'm saying? Right. We're already on the edge because we're in here. We exposed. So we like, hypersexual American girls, like, oh
Right.
my gosh, you know what I'm saying? But
Competing with each
when I
other.
got outside of myself and I looked around, these
Right.
sisters of other nations was nurturing each other.
Right.
And they was taking care of each other. And I was like, wow. I started thinking like, they must be sisters, like blood sisters, or that must be her daughter or something along those lines. And one family even had a little girl with them. And initially you thinking like, why they got that little girl up in here with us? But they were teaching her how to take care, right? And so we don't have that in our nation, right? And
We
it's a
used to.
reason why. And we are sick and we are hurting. And I feel like we get together and we conceptualize the idea of when I see my sister, I see the Yah in you, right? I want to see the Yah in you. I want to see the light in you. But because of the generational trauma, right? Because of the abuse that we have endured from
everybody.
The nations, our men, and all of that. Right. We don't have intimacy.
That's right. She's
We
right.
go into every situation guarded, right? Because there's a certain level of competition that exists amongst us. Because for us, competition means life or death. For us, competition means that my family might get split up, right? And so, in us having that trauma on us, what happens is it's like we're sick and we are literally birthing sick children.
Say that.
We're literally birthing sick children.
It's true.
So, not just from but mentally ill, right? And that's become a normality in our community. But then we intellectualize the concept of intimacy and relationship with one another. But we really don't have it. And the reason why I say that, I may have had one or two people say, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all don't know how to get along. If I don't know anybody, I would say y'all hate each other. But when I look at the whole of our nation and how we interact with one another, we want each other, we desire each other, but we hate that because we hate ourselves too.
It's that dichotomous thing.
And we're walking into these situations guarded. And so it's like, I can get information from you. You can build me up with information. But then when it comes to the practical application of it, we lack in that area. And I think that we're going to have some down and dirty, get down and dirty with it. Like, what's up? Like, why I don't trust my sister? I don't trust my sister because she might try to get with my man later. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't trust my sister.
That's probably the top one.
You know what I'm saying? She might go behind my back at the job because it can only be one of us in the room at a time or maybe two. So I don't trust her because she might try to get the promotion before I do. Or whatever else, what other arena we're in where there's a competition there. So I just think that, we really got issues. And so when I look at my sister, what do I see? An enemy. I want to see an ally. I want to see somebody that has my back 100%. I want to see somebody that can come into my home and help me after I have a baby. But can I trust you in my home?
Right.
Even if you're not trying to get with my man, are you going to go back and talk about me? You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, how did you know that?
But the only way we're going to solve it is if we try.
Well, but there's a point that's made. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Seeking X.
So I want tips too.
So Azaria, this is why we have a 3-part series, sis, because this is like very intense and it cannot happen overnight, nor should we sit here and rush the conversation, right? So what I'm gonna say is we have to strip everything mentally, physically, and emotionally. And then go back into the Tanach and look at our foremothers, look at our forefathers when they saw a stranger in the land. You saw, as soon as they came, they saw somebody new. They fed their animals. They washed their feet. We have to be humble again. But in order to do that, we have to go back and say, how and why did I hurt you? Because it's a reason why they're coming to you that way. It can be because of the he say, she say, but then at the end of the day, if I'm a genuine person and I'm coming to you, right, exactly. Stop wearing these masks because I'm genuine and I know I'm genuine and I'm coming to you sincerely. I would like to be respected the same way. Like the same thing at your job. You're not going to disrespect your boss, so why are you going to sit here and disrespect me?
Get it,
You know,
Ness.
we have to
Come on.
it cannot be a double standard here. So the same way I respect you, I would like that same respect back. And at the same time, and if you disrespect me, it's okay, sis. I forgive you. May Yah be with you. I pray for you. You have to like change the other people's mindset. And I think somebody put that in the group chat as well, because they're so used to that negativity, that back and forth, that rah rah. But at the end of the day, they just might need an extra hug. They might need love. You know?
I wanted to say something else today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I wanted to say, and it's something, okay, in thinking about it, right? I told Baruch the other day, I said, I'm about to start watching all this Black programming, right? Because, okay, I was watching ballet, right? Y'all watch that?
Yeah.
Y'all was watching
I've
TV.
seen
I don't
it.
know. Am I on the screen with TV watchers? I was watching ballet.
I'm here.
I watched Bel-Air.
Okay. And I told Baruch, I said, that was a refreshing series. And he said, why you say that? I said, because that was the first series or the first Black programming that I've seen in a while where the husband and the wife weren't in some type of triangulation.
Right.
They were hypersexual people that could not control themselves, and they were at odds with one another, and they were betraying one another, but they still somehow kept it all together, right? We still handling business because that's what they're feeding us. Right? So that's what we've been fed for generations. So you turn on the TV, you see the sisters, they start off getting along. Oh, nice, you look nice, you look cute. And then all of a sudden it's like, rah, 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 rah. And it's like, right?
Yeah.
Then you see the children, they're out of control. The mother, she don't know what to do, and all this other stuff. And they're feeding this to us. So, all I'm saying is that there is still a, I want to say, conspiracy to keep our people divided.
Amen.
And so, like you said, we have to walk in a place of humility. So I was telling the children the other day, I said, they were like, something happened in school. One of the children got really upset at somebody because they lied. Somebody lied. And, he was like, I don't like that, Mom. I'm over it. And I said, well, listen. I said, sometimes people lie because the truth hurts them. They don't want to give you the truth because it's going to hurt them. They don't want you to hurt them with their truth, right? And we have to be truthful, but I think we don't want to deal with the hurt that comes along with it. But we have to be considerate of each other's pain to be able to get to a higher place. So that's where the humility comes in.
Right.
So now when I'm experiencing these traumatic situations within sisterhoods and within the community, now I have to look at you and say, okay, they have trauma. Like I have trauma.
Right.
I can't take you so personally, or even your actions to be so malicious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the breakdown. That's how you become humble. Just looking on the things of others, basically, and considering what they've gone through and what we're going through still as a nation. So,
totally agree.
I totally agree.
Kenny, what you said?
No, I know we coming to the end. I'm not going to even say much, but I'll do my little conclusion talk. I think we should definitely continue this for the part 2.
Amen.
We are, it's really good. We should also take some callers, take some, letters, anything that people want to bring to the table. This is definitely a women's discussion, not only among ourselves, but definitely with people who's online as well. I think just in general, with everything that was said, it just, the man in the mirror. It's the man in the mirror because Michael Jackson made the song, but what I'm trying to say is that it all starts with ourselves. I know we're talking about taking off the mask and being real and everything else like that, but it starts with yourself. Who are you? What are you about? What is your boundaries? And letting people learn the real you. It's okay. We're going to love you regardless. So, for example, for myself, it's just that if I'm not feeling good or I'm having a bad day, if my cousin or my sister call me, I'm not on the phone saying, "Hey girl," I'm like, today, is not really a good day, but I feel like that helps me out because I'm being authentic. I'm being real of who I am. And that's vice versa. If I speak to a Metia or a Zaria or somebody like that, we just have to start producing the real us. And not only saying it, but just doing it. And I just hope that with these talks and what we're doing, we can be able to better understand everybody and ourselves at the same time, and we can just move forward. I enjoyed everybody. Auntie Queen Zarita, please, I'm requesting her to come on with her book. If anybody doesn't have it, please reach out to her. It's an excellent book. I read it 2 times. That's definitely one of the suggestion things that I'm putting in the suggestion box, is that we can definitely talk about her book, moving forward, because it's a book about women, our, the way we feel. I'm not going to give away everything. Everybody gets
No.
Until next time, I enjoyed everybody. Of course, I learned a lot. Love and blessings to everybody.
Right. And let me just say,
I'm sorry,
people have asked me sometimes, Ema, how come you have such patience and whatnot? I said, they really don't know me. I'm ready to explode and whatnot. But you know what I've learned over the years, and I'll pass this on to you. Some battles are just not worth the fight.
Facts.
They're just not worth it. We get all discombobulated. We get all upset. We get all strung out. We get all everything. And some battles are just not worth it. Sometimes not saying something can cool the matter down.
That's a fact.
And sometimes you got to choose your words sometimes. Sometimes you don't know sometimes where you're hitting the core of somebody's pain. And so you have to be careful sometimes. What they say, a kind word turneth away wrath. It doesn't always work. Of course, we got some people out here, they don't want to hear nothing. They don't want to, forget it. But I'm saying it's not so much that I have learned to have patience. I've learned that the Most High brought the patience to me, whatever patience I do have. Because I'm still a tribal Levi, and I still like to go through with the sword every now and then. But what happens is that you learn that there are some battles that are just not worth it. They're not worth your time. They're not worth your energy. They're not worth your anything. And anybody who thinks that hate is a very strong emotion, just like love is, and it can consume you to the point that it destroys you if you don't let it go. So we have to learn. We said, okay, yes, we know we have this trauma. We know we're suffering from things. We know we're hopefully coming out of this curse as I see it and whatnot. But it has to start somewhere, and the somewhere is with you.
Yes.
Me. It has to start with me. If I want people to be kind, then I have to be kind. And those who don't be kind to me, like Hezekiah, like Nehemiah said, y'all counted to me for righteousness. And I didn't do this, and I didn't do that.
Chantel. Closing remarks.
Oh, am I going to do it?
No. Do you have any?
Oh no, no. No, yesterday we said it all. My mind was working on something else, but no, this is definitely has been really, really. I didn't, in all truthfulness, I did not expect the conversation to go the way that it did, but definitely have a lot of topics from it to discuss. Like this was really really good start to healing and to promoting good sisterhood and bringing back that intimacy that is so needed that we don't have. And I'm glad that Azaria brought that up because I was kind of even thinking that, like, even in my own family, it's it's not that prevalent as much from my aunts and my mom to be that intimate like that. But for me, I'm all about it. I give anyone who comes through the door, I give them hugs and kisses. I just love it because I know that was something that I lacked. And I definitely know that is something that is beneficial. It's for me, it's just healthy. It's just like the breath. I need it, so I'm going to give it, so I'm really surprised the way this conversation went, and I'm happy that
Yes.
I know it.
So thank you for all who, even in the comments, just having the support of the sisters, that have been consistent with us, even from when Na'Shay Chayil was going for a study, the Torah study takeover, Hayafa, Lori, Hava, all these sisters, have been by us, and we definitely appreciate the support. So thank you.
Yes.
Angel.
Okay, so for me, y'all know I'm the work in progress. I call myself the balance because I wasn't born in this way. So I have the experience of the best of both worlds, I like to call it. So when we first formed Na'Shay Chayil, Azaria, and Ametzia, they came up with something we didn't get a chance to explore fully, but it was deconstruct to reconstruct. And that was
saying what I want to say, because all y'all say it before I say it.
That goes to show we were listening.
Exactly. And I am here for the journey. I am throwing myself out there. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm ready to build that system. I'm ready to be that mother. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to do all of those things.
Amen.
You can speak for me.
A woman,
You can speak for me.
So
it's funny that she said it, and why I let everybody go first, but everybody said everything I was going to. So you make it really easy. So I will do this. I enjoy, as always, our conversations. It's always something that I can walk away with. And I'm always here for the takeaways. So it was a pleasure and a joy to hear everyone's opinion. And thank you, Azaria, because in true form, like I said, part two, and I thank Mavina for this. Toda, sis. How part two question, and I'll give the subtopics later, but part two question is, how can we nurture each other if we see each other as an enemy? So that's where part two is going to be coming from. There's going to be some subtopics, and I want to encourage everyone to look on our website and look on our Facebook page and group for some of these topics. I'm going to post them right before we come on, like I did this time. And to give somebody, give people a little something to think about as we get ready to come into meeting you again live. I will say that part of that is what I titled the deconstruction of me. I titled it the deconstruction of me. And I'm very happy that it came up, because when everyone was talking about it, that was the first thing that came up. Like, well, how do we begin to do this? How do we begin to do this? And I like the fact that Hayafa said we have to start removing these masks, right? But how we begin, and although I get where Nasika was coming from, and like how we deal one with another, even when we know the next might be hurting, is that it, like Shakina said, it starts with us. It starts with you, self. So how do you get to understand it? You have to understand you. And part of the issue is, food for thought as we move on, part of the issue is we don't even know who we are. We've been told who we are. We've been coaxed into being people that we are not. There's an expectation of who we're supposed to be. There's all these variables and narratives that surround us as individuals. But what is the narrative that you say for yourself? What is your narrative? Who are you? One thing I've learned on this journey is I'm used to people not always understanding me and how I do things. I'm used to that at this point. But it came with me beginning to understand myself. And I'm still on that journey. So it is never ending. I'm still growing. So that's where we're going to take it from. The question will be, how can we nurture each other if we see each other as an enemy? We're going to talk about the support. We're going to talk about treatment of women. That's going to come in. That's going to be part of part two. And we ask that all of you join us in that. I want to
bring your scriptures. Bring your scriptures.
Yes.
Yeah, let's have a scripture party.
I'm here for it. I love that everybody dived in their own way and spoke their truth. I appreciate it, and I thank all of you for joining us. For having comments, for being a part of the conversation. So kudos to you ladies. And always thank you for our support. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn it over to Chantel because she has some things in which to announce. Some upcoming for Na'Shay Chayil.
Okay. Wait, sorry, let me flip back my screen. So I know we have been speaking about Princess Sarita's book, In the Bosom of the Seventh Seal, written by Princess Sarita Raquel Yehuda. You can find it on Amazon or Book Baby. I'm sorry?
Or her personally.
Or her personally. And we'll get that information to you all soon, unless y'all do know who Princess Sarita is. Also, Na'Shay Chayil is having an Erev Shabbat service on Fridays, every Friday at 7 p.m. Please join us this Friday, April 8th at 7 p.m. Join in on the conversation. I think you're going to it's not a conversation, it's a service of psalms, of song, of thoughts, and how we prepare for the Shabbat day. So we look forward to that. Also, I do not have the flyer up, but tomorrow is the food pantries. First at Beth Shalom, and that is on Willoughby Avenue. Imana Ami knows the address.
730 Willoughby Avenue, between Marcus Garvey Boulevard and Lewis Avenue. 730 Willoughby Avenue, starting at noon.
And also the Works of Angels' Hands, in conjunction with Shamray Habrit, will be having their food pantry at 1568 Prospect Place. As you all know, as you all have heard, volunteers are needed. So if you are off from work or you live nearby, please stop in and help.
And I just want to say one thing. Our delivery tomorrow is geared for Pesach. So we should be getting matzahs and, good stuff that's kosher for Passover and Chag Matzah. So if you are in this way of life and you need some stuff, come through and
please do. That'll be at both places, by the way, that you'll be getting the Passover deliveries. Please come and grab and go.
Bring your shopping carts and bags.
Also, if you have any topics you would like for us to consider discussing, please go to na'shaychayil.org and click on the comment icon. We would love to, build up our cachet of ideas and topics to discuss. But even in these discussions, we are always coming up with something, drawing some topics from our discussions. So we thank you for participating in tonight's Torah discussion.
Simchah Lamod.
Yes, our Simchah Lamod, the joy of learning.
So,
go ahead, Ametia.
Well, I'm glad that I hope you all will again join us Friday for Erev Shabbat. Again, like Chantel said, it's just going to be psalm, prayers, and song, just to softly welcome in the Shabbat. And we just thank the Most High for all that He's doing, and all that He will continue to do. Soraya. I just also want to throw in, check out on Tuesdays. Tuesday.
Yes. Tamar and Hayata.
Tamar and our sister.
Yes,
check out the you just messed. You just.
They have a webcam series.
Tuesday Tea. Did I say that right, or did I say it right the first time?
You said it right.
I'm looking it up, but yes, it sounds.
What's the information? Yeah, post the information.
Check them out on Facebook. They're on Facebook. You can go to their respective pages if for those.
Or Women on the Rise.
Women on the Rise.
Oh, okay.
Is the group page. So check them out because there's good information that flows through there, and I'm really in support of us learning. So part of that deconstruction is that we have to learn to take care of ourselves.
Right.
And so as we're breaking things down,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have to learn how to build ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that comes with self-care. So that's definitely something that could be for mind, body, and spirit. So I want y'all to check that out.
At what time on Tuesday?
That's the 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
ma'am.
That's in conflict with nothing, but that's okay.
But it's
Well, you can always go back and watch
Go
it.
back and watch
You can watch it. You
Huh?
can go back
So
and watch
When is
it.
she gonna go on
I can't hear you
YouTube?
when you
Because
talk.
I'm not on Facebook. So all
Everybody's
those who are
talking.
not on Facebook, when we gonna get this?
All
on
those who are not on Facebook could go.
Oh, Hayafa, you hear that? We
Laura,
need a
Laura
YouTube.
Dina's Hebrew class.
Oh, and then you have
Yes.
more.
Oh, Moradina's Hebrew
There's
class.
also on Tuesdays, correct? Moradina has a Hebrew
Tuesday at
class
7 p.m.
at 7 p.m.
Okay,
So
since we plugging in, you gotta put Kokavia prayer line every morning.
come on, Kokavia's
every
prayer line,
evening.
6 o'clock, 6:30, 6:30.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
begins, but I think the actual a study and prayer and stuff goes on at 7 o'clock. So they have music that's usually playing at 6:30. And I want to encourage this, right? Because there she goes. Hayafa did it. Tea Tuesday. I'm like backwards. Tea Tuesday with Tamar and Hayafa. Where he spilled the tea on all things beauty and wellness. I love it. At 7 p.m. One of the other things that Na'Shay Chayil is all about is networking and sisterhood.
Acts.
And this is what we do. We don't know what's happening because no one's talking about it. We have these little micro groups that may know something, but we need to find ways to bring it out to the masses and for each other, for other sisters that might not even be in this way of life. There's still information that everybody can get. And this is part of us being light unto nations, unto each other. So
And supporting each other.
Spread the word. And again, grateful that you all was able to join us. We started with the prayer. Can we end with one?
Definitely.
Anybody?
Always.
And what's going up?
Always Larry.
Hallelujah.
Larry in the house.
Hallelujah.
Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, Elohei Avotenu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Israel. We thank thee, O Yah, for a very productive and informative and loving meeting, and ask that all of our meetings be conducted in this way. We ask, O Yah, that some of the wisdom that has been imparted here will go out to all the sisters and even the rest of our families, even the brothers, that they will even see that we are women who are striving to please you, O Yah, and to return to thy laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments. We ask that you would guide our footsteps and make them sure. We ask that you would be with us and protect us and our families and all the families in Israel. We ask that you would heal and comfort all those who need these things. And we ask always, Yah, your blessings over us. Please protect us for the rest of this week. Let our Friday night beginning of the Shabbat service be blessed by you as well. Amen. And let all that we do in righteousness be blessed by you. We ask, Lord Yah, when we err, that you would put us on the right path and cause us to be truly Na'Shay Chayil. Again, oh Yah, we thank thee for all things and for everything. Knowing our words are not enough to thank thee, but asking that you find both our words and our deeds acceptable before thee, oh Yah, our King and our Redeemer. Hallelujah.
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 Once again, thank you all for joining us for our first Simchah Lamont.
Yay!
Great.
I don't know. I prayed for this, y'all. Just want y'all to know.
All right.
Yes.
Yep.
This
And
is
you see how
Angel.
look how y'all answers prayer.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
All the time.
And
So,
don't forget to pray for each other because prayers are powerful.
Yes. Amen and amen.
And I just
we will be posting when our next Simchah Lamont will be. So look out for that. Those flyers, they will be out. And again, we thank you. We as always, we pray that the Most High continue to be with you all.
Yes.
Make sure you go with God in all things and everything that you do. And we will see you next time.
Yahuwah M. Kim. Did I say that right, Ima? Yahuwah M. Kim?
Okay.
Did I say that